Good evening, everybody. My name is Pierre, founder and CEO of SalomonFirearms Training and Overwatch Security. Today, I'm going to be talking about a grave issue or multiple issues within the two-way community. Today, I went to the Boston gun rally. So for those of you that didn't know or were aware, there was a rally that was described as a peaceful protest rally, August 24th, 10 a.m. Basically, all the gun laws, they're changing the training requirements, they're restricting things, they're banning things. So the usual stuff that happens in mass. So I caught wind of this event, I'd say probably about a month ago, or maybe less than that, a couple of weeks ago. I seen this flyer pop up. Some of my students shared it, and then it popped up in my groups because I'm in like a million gun groups. I usually don't comment. I'm usually just watching, and people were posting and sharing it and all that stuff. So in the flyer, there was no thing. So originally, I thought it was Goal, right? So I thought Goal was holding another rally, but Goal usually has their letterhead and stuff like that. And when you look at the flyer, there's no mention of any organization, of any person, of any contact information or anything like that. And then I saw threads keep popping up, and people like, "Oh, who's organizing this event? Who's organizing?" And it's like, nobody. It's just for the people. It's regular people. Yada yada yada. And then I'm like, okay, cool. It's just for regular Joes. They didn't want any like mainstream people to go through it. So it was no biggie. I wasn't sure if I was gonna go. I wanted to go, but my work life is crazy. If you watch any of my YouTube channels and videos, you should know that I work 100 hours a week. I own a firearm training company and a security company. So I'm usually teaching, doing private lessons at the range, or doing a detail of that sort. So I'm always busy. So yeah, so I wasn't quite sure. And then up to this week, I had reserved the date on my calendar, and then I'm like, okay, I want to clear it and stuff like that. And nothing crazy came up. So I decided last night, or yesterday, that I was going to go and I was going to speak. I've been to all these rallies since 2016. If you guys don't recognize me, in 2016, when Maura Healey banned all the rifles and stuff, July 20th, I believe the date was. I was there. I had the same blue rifle that I had with me last time I made the news and stuff like that, and yada yada. I've kind of been passive at these events, partially because I own a firearm training company, and I'm a Black dude in a gun world that I don't believe is designed for us. So I'm kind of careful as to ruffling feathers, and basically I got too much shit to lose. So I don't want to go and be part of something, and then now my name gets put on a list, and crazy stuff happens. So I've kind of just been paying money. So I've been going to events. Goal has a lot of rallies, other, what do you call it? Concealed carry fashion show, things like that. So I pay my yearly memberships. I go to these events. So I feel like when I go to the meetings, the annual meetings and things like that, I can voice my opinion and concerns because I'm a paying member and I put my money where my mouth is. So my entire life is dedicated to protecting and growing the Second Amendment. So yeah, but after what had happened a couple weeks ago, followed this ban, I went to Gold's first rally during the summer, and they kept changing the numbers, just because they wanted to make the signs like not valuable anymore and things like that. And then this time, so who really inspired me was Toby Larry. So I don't know if you guys are familiar with Toby. He owns a gun shop down in Cape Cod, and he was willing to risk his FFL. And to me, that was very surprising because I think about things in chess, and I'm like, there's some people that are protest, some people do this. And if you're in the FFL and gun owners thing, you want to stay open and have access available to the 2A members. But Toby was like, yo, I'm not going to comply. I'm not going to do this. It's unconstitutional, this, da, 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 da. And he really inspired me to take a more active role. Not saying that I was active. I'm teaching every day and stuff like that, and I'm certifying thousands of students. So, I'm active more than the average person, but that really inspired me to have more skin in the game. So after this whole thing came by, I was running the idea through my head of, hey, maybe I should speak. because there are certain things that are not being said, right? Going through a million of these events, right? I kind of know who's going to be there, right? Half the crowd is always the same people. You know the speeches that's going to be given and things like that. So since going to these rallies since 2016 when Maura Healey been semi-autos, right? I've been monitoring and I've been watching the messaging and things like that. That's when I really started getting like thinking about politics. And what I realized for almost 10 years now is that the same messaging has been given from the two-way side. The same rhetoric, right? And of course, there's a bunch of things that happen within that 10 years, right? Police shootings, black people with guns and stuff like that, yada, yada, yada. And, and there's all these conversations happening. And I start to realize that, we're living in like two different Americas, as some people would say. So there's gun owners on a two-way side that has a certain belief. And then there's another group of gun owners on the other side of the two-way. As always in most of my life, I always found myself to be intertwined in the middle. I never really fit in one group or another. So I was born in Haiti, for you guys that don't know. So I'm a Haitian immigrant. So when people talk about immigrants this, immigrants that, yada yada, I just think this should be really specific as to the situation. But I also understand the plight of people coming into the country and trying to better their life. So I have a unique lens on that. Then after high school, I joined the military, right? And I got a different lens of what guns are, right? So growing up in Rosendale, Dorchester, right? People were saying guns are bad. Black people shouldn't be with guns, murderers, killers, gangbangers, thugs, thugs, thugs. That was the whole thing. My father is a pastor, very religious and stuff like that. So I always got the message that guns were bad, right? Not until did I join the military right after high school did the narrative of guns the proposition of guns changed to me. Now guns were used to defend yourself, defend your teammates, which now become your family, defend your nation, defend the people that you care about. So the narrative of guns to me was now guns are used for self-defense. So that was a new concept. Then I come back home, I start doing unarmed security, armed security, and then I become a security contractor for Department of Homeland Security. So I get the law enforcement aspect of it. I'm a Boston constable. I've taken a bunch of these classes, yada, yada, yada. So for me, I find myself in a very unique role because I've experienced so many different aspects of the Second Amendment. I've experienced it as a young black kid in an urban neighborhood being told guns are bad. I've experienced it as a military service member telling me to kill bad guys and defend the country. I've done it, in a security guard aspect where we're protecting clients and things like that. I have experienced firearms as an instructor and training counselor, helping people protect themselves in the homes and things like that. So I feel like I'm able to get a well-rounded and fair view because I can understand all the different sides. So I feel that's where I'm a little bit different than the average two-way person, is because I've had all these different experiences and they've helped. I've seen each angle of it, and I feel like it's helped me shape the whole comprehensive view of the Second Amendment. When I started becoming an instructor, that's when I started becoming more involved in the community and stuff like that. And after a while, I realized that I was almost always the only black person in that group. Almost always the black person, the only black person at the club, the only black person at the annual meeting, the only black person at this event and stuff like that. And then I started asking, like, yo, where's my people at? Where are the people that look at me, that look like me? And and that started becoming profound to me. So then I started making a mental note that, hey, every time that I go to an event, nobody in my community is there with me. And I felt lonely. Then you turn on the news and they're like, oh, guns are horrible. Keep them out of the hands of black people. Then you go to the gun club and they're like, guns are good. Go ahead and like, exercise your Second Amendment. And then, going to school, I majored in criminal justice and sociology. You learn all these historical contexts and things like that. So I've really been in the middle, and like a lot of different identities are pulling at me. You know, one of the recent things about, do you kneel or stand for the national anthem? As a soldier, I want to I want to stand at attention and salute at the end. As a black person, you want to kneel. Which one do I pick? Right. So I've always had this internal confliction. And then I'm like, how do I compromise? How do I honor my immigrant roots? How do I honor my Black American roots? How do I honor my military roots? Um, so um, so yeah, so I've always been in like this, crazy internal conflict of how do I find compromise? How do I honor all these different things? And still have a sense of dignity and who I am, and without having to sacrifice myself. So fast forward 10 years, I own a gun shop, I have an FFL, I'm deep in the game, I'm politically active, and now I find myself in a position of leadership and I want to create change. So I started writing mission statements online and on my website and stuff like that. And I was literally the only Black firearms instructor. I didn't know any other Black firearms instructor. So I started teaching people, students. Then I became an NRA training counselor. Then I started certifying Black and brown and Spanish people. And every single time it was the same message. Yo, oh my God, thank God I found you. I've been wanting to do this for years. And, I didn't want to go to those places where, they got the Confederate flag up. And I'm like, yeah, I feel you, man. I don't really identify with that. And then I became like a safe haven for a lot of people to learn and then to use firearms. And then I started certifying more Black, brown, Hispanic, Asian instructors. And then now that's no longer the narrative, right? Now there's a bunch of Black instructors in Boston. I trained most of them. I certified most of them. And now people in the community have access to training with people that look like them, right? So I am actively protecting and growing the Second Amendment and giving access to the people that need it the most. So with that said, so little background. So with that said, I wanted to now transition into a leadership role and I wanted to start speaking. I started taking YouTube seriously this year. I've had YouTube for like 8 years, but I didn't really have an understanding of the YouTube game, but now I do. And now I'm promoting this content. So I decided I wanted to speak because there's an aspect of gun ownership that was not being spoken out loud. That concept is being spoken in my classes when it's only Black and brown people. It's spoken in my community when we're having 2A events and stuff like that, but it's not happening in the mainstream conversation. And then when I think about the solution, right, I'm like, okay, these are all these problems. I'm a solution driven person, right? How do I get the outcome that I desire? And the thing that I came up with is we need Black and Hispanic and Asian people and all other browns and shades, they need to be involved in the 2A movement. So with this formulating over years, I worked overnight last night. So this is why I was really mad, right? Because I worked a double yesterday. I worked, 2 shifts. I worked overnight. I got off the overnight, and then I'm heading over to this rally. I'm running over to Home Depot to get a shovel. And I'm putting my clothes on in the car. I'm typing my speech as I'm driving. I'm at the rally and I'm still typing and fleshing out my ideas. So then I think, here's an opportunity to connect with fellow 2A members. I'm trying to be politically correct here. So I was really disappointed and frustrated with the thing that I was approached with. So I wanted to have a hard conversation with the 2A community, right? And the hard conversation, and I started my speech with that. I started with, I wanted to have a hard conversation that I believe that we should have because this is the solution I believe to the problems that we're having with the 2A. For anyone that has the footage, please share the footage with me. Send me the footage, whether it's Google Drive, tag me into it. As long as I get access to it and on my computer, I can download it, take it, stuff like that. So share the footage with me. So yeah. So last year I went to an event, to an annual meeting, and I said, "Hey, what are you guys doing to promote the two-way in my community?" Because every time I'm having these annual events, I'm going to bumfuck nowhere, and people don't have cars or people don't want to go out there. They never heard of these towns, yada yada yada. Then they told me, "Oh, we're gonna talk to you offline. We should connect, yada yada." Nothing really turned out of that. Not a big deal, but that's when I started asking questions, and I said, "Hey, the way things are going now, especially in Massachusetts, the way things are going right now, we are losing the two-way fight, right? People say, come and take them. I don't say that anymore because they're taking them, right? We say, come and take it as if it's a threat. And when they take them, what did we do? Maura Healey took the assault rifles in 2016. What did we do? This bill just passed and they're taking stuff again. So when we say come and take it, that's an empty threat now. If our founding fathers was here today and they see all the taxation on income, on food, on housing, right? The whole country would be on fire. So we're past the point of come and take it as if we're gonna do something radical or revolutionary, let's say. So in my mind, I want actual concrete solutions that gets the desired outcome that we desire. And this is what my speech was designed to do. My speech was designed for us gun owners to look in the mirror and ask ourselves, why are we getting our ass kicked? Anti-gunners are winning this fight. Anti-gunners are always one step ahead of the game. We're always showing up last minute. We got 24 hours, 48 hours to freaking do something because the law is going to change. Now you're paying 4 times the cost for a firearm when you shouldn't have to, right? We are always on the defense. So what are we going to do as gun owners to be on the offense, to be winning the fight? I don't know about any other state. Some states are winning, but here in Massachusetts, we're losing. And I think in general, we're losing as well. So after putting my clothes on in the car while I was driving, typing up my speech, this is the speech that I came up with. And I titled it Two-Way Hard Conversation. And this is the conversation that I'm going to have with the two-way community. And I'm going to try to be as politically correct as possible, even though a lot of these things make me mad because of the extra hurdles that I have to deal with as a person in my life. And I have to stop being mad because if I'm not mad, then I can't make progress. I have to work with people that I disagree on most points every single day. Every single day, majority of people that come in my classes, I don't agree with them on anything besides guns. But that doesn't matter because I'm here to educate and train them on firearm safety. I'm not here to push my own political ideals and opinions. So as long as we're safe and we're training with guns, that's all that matters. So going into this rally, I had no idea who was in charge of it. All the conversations that I saw online were saying that it wasn't organized by any organization. It was just regular, everyday gun owners coming together to promote, protect, and grow the Second Amendment. That's what I saw in every thread. The flyer did not have a mention of any name, of any organization, any contact info. So coming to this rally, I thought it was fair game. No info. No info on the flyer. The flyer is the thumbnail for this right here. I posted the flyer on Facebook. A bunch of people sent me the flyer. So I want to start with that context. There was no point of contact. We call that a POC in the military. So I just roll up, I go into the thing and I wait for my turn. I see a guy who's taking notes and calling people out and stuff like that. So I go, cool. Hey, let me throw my name in the hat. He has the phone, he has the list or whatever. He throws my name into the list. And then I wait about an hour as other people are giving their speeches. Those speeches was crazy and wild. As a bystander before I spoke, all those speeches were not talking about, all those speeches had, I'd say about 80% of it had nothing to do with guns. It was talking about putting America first, which we know certain language is usually tied. Well, I would say we know. Some Americans have the perspective that when you use a certain phrase or language, that there's a connotation that goes with that. So put America first has a connotation of being racist. So when people say that, people go, oh, I I don't like that to some people. Something like Back the Blue or All Lives Matter or any other political phrase that we know when you say that phrase, it's not the direct message that's being told. It's a variety of crap behind it. Thank you. Okay, gun websites. Thank you for sending me the $20. This is literally my first super chat. So shout out to everybody for that. Gun website says to help cover gas, your message today at the rally were on point. Thank you so much for being there and bringing a real point of view that needs to be addressed. Thank you very much, gun websites. I appreciate that. So super chats are active. If you write it, then I'll put your message up. So thank you for that, gun websites. Appreciate you. But yeah. So prior to me, I would say at least 10 people spoke. 10 people spoke ahead of me. 80% of it had nothing to do with guns. People were running for political offices, which is fine. People were talking about other political candidates. People were talking about the border. People were talking about, all types of random things that wasn't related to 2A. People were talking about Trump. People were talking about MAGA. People are talking about a bunch of different things. So I was hearing all this and I was like, okay, then my speech made sense. So let me start with my speech. I told the crowd, hey, we have to have a hard conversation. This crowd is, generally when you think of the word patriot and gun owners, you generally think of a white conservative male, right? That's what people who aren't white males, that's what they think of when they hear the term patriot. I ask yourself, when you think of the word patriot, do you, in your mind, when you close your eyes and you think of the word patriot, does the image of a black guy with an afro carrying a gun come to mind? Does the image of a black guy with braids and a suit come to mind? For majority of people, the answer is no. I don't want to get into the weeds of is that right or wrong, but there are certain connotations and views and perspectives that people have. I'm not arguing whether it's right or wrong. I'm just saying that it exists, right? So we're getting into this knowing that there's a pretext, knowing that we're not getting into this rally in a vacuum, right? So it's not like we don't know anything. So there's a lot of pre-connotations. I told people we got to have a hard conversations about accountability, okay? And before we talk about anybody else, we need to look at ourselves, right? Before we talk about our exes, before we talk about our bosses, before we talk about our friends, we have to look at ourselves first. So I told the crowd, look to your left and look to your right. How many black, brown, Hispanic, whatever ethnicity, non-white do you see around here? People looked around. And then I said, look around again. Look at the space that is missing. We are in the heart of Boston, where there are tens and thousands of gun owners that are black, brown, Hispanic, whatever other ethnicity and category, gay, right? You have Pink Pistols, which is another pro 2A group, right? There's all types of different demographics, right? Chop it up by race, gender, whatever, sexual orientation, cool. Why are none of these people here? I've been going to rallies since 2016, and majority of the crowds that show up are young and old white males and females. I'm not saying that's bad. I'm not saying that as a bad thing. But that's majority of the crowd. I've gone to a dozen rallies and it's usually 100 or 200 people. And now that I've got enough of them, I could already tell you who's going to be there. I can name half the crowd because I have a rapport with them. Over this last decade, we have been losing. So I asked myself this question. How come people who live in the city of Boston, where it's accessible by train, accessible by car, accessible by Uber, accessible by bicycle, right? You could ride your bicycle. I made a joke about the bike lanes, right? Why are none of these tens of thousands of gun owners showing up to a rally in their own city? I could understand if it was in Uber. I could understand if it was in Gold's headquarters. I could understand if it was in bumfuck nowhere. But it was here in the heart of Boston. Why are our gun owners not showing up to these rallies? That's a real question. If you want to promote and grow the Second Amendment, why is 80% of the community not showing up? This is a community about accountability. This is a community that talk about, oh, pick yourself up by the bootstraps and go to work and da-da-da-da-da. So where's our accountability? Where is our self-reflection? As a two-way community, do we ever ask ourselves why 80% of the community never show up? Why do 80% of the community vote for politicians that are anti-gun? What could be so bad? What could be so bad that somebody who is pro-gun, who has a license to carry, who has a gun, who loves to defend themselves and believe in the Second Amendment, what could be so bad that they vote for something else? Does the two-way community ever ask themselves that? Do you? If you don't, you should ask yourself, why do my peers don't show up to these rallies? If you are a white male, young, old, white female, young, old, ask yourself, why do my counterparts do not show up to these rallies? They paid for the class, they pay for the licensing every 6 years, they go to the range, they go to the shooting range, they're pro two-way. But why is it when it comes time to vote, we're not voting in unison? Why is it when it comes time to do these rallies that it's the same white people that come in all the time? And we're losing. We are losing this two-way fight. We put everything on the back of fucking Goal. Goal is the organization that got like 10 people in it. And we're putting a fucking, what was the number? 30,000 gun owners, whatever the number is. We're putting the entire two-way movement on the backs of 10 people. Why? Why are we doing that? Is that an effective solution? Is that an effective strategy? That only 20% of the people show up to rallies? 20% of the people vote? Not even 20%, 10 people are doing all the legal work? If it wasn't for Goal keeping me up to date with the emails and breaking this shit down in their war room and doing all this shit, I would have no idea what the fuck is going on. I would have no idea. Why? Because I don't understand the political structure. I don't understand the state building, the city hall, and how laws are passed and this and that. I have no idea how it works. And the only way I've started to understand is by being part of Goal and reading the emails, by going to their rallies and hearing them talk. How do you know what the bill number is? How did you know this passed? I have no fucking idea. The bill number, who did this, who filed that, who did that. I have no idea. But Goal informs me. And I say, damn, I appreciate that, brother. Y'all doing some heavy work because I got a lot of work on my own. I can't track that. So I'm not asking everyone to save the world. What I'm asking people is to do your part. And your part is you should ask yourself, am I growing and protecting the Second Amendment, or am I part of the problem? Why don't 80% of gun owners show up to these rallies? That's a question that I want you to answer. You don't have to agree with me. You don't have to share my views, but I want you to answer that fucking question because that's a reality. The reality is majority of gun owners are not showing up. And why? 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 If you disagree with me as to why, give me the answer. Give me the answer why. So we got to look in the mirror. What's the messaging are we giving? Right? As a business owner, as an organization, you are responsible for your messaging. You are responsible for getting customers to come through your door. 2A members is your customer. If you're claiming to be a leader in the 2A community, then that LTC holder is your customer. And your customer is not showing up to these rallies. They're not showing up to your store. They're not buying your shit. So you know what's happening? You're going out of business. When you don't have programs, when you don't have initiatives, when you can't get customers to go into your store, you know what happens? You go out of business. And that's what's happening to the 2A in Massachusetts. We are going out of business. They're banning shit. Fucking bullet by bullet, magazine by magazine, feature by feature, gun by gun, platform by platform. So I don't give a damn about what your personal opinion is. What I care about is solutions. Because your customers ain't coming. And you got to ask yourself why. If you truly care about the Second Amendment and everyone having the ability to protect themselves and their loved ones, you would ask yourself why, and you would take the actions appropriate to getting your customers through your door. Because right now, the LTC members and LTC holders in Boston are not showing up to your business. So therefore, these anti-gun politicians are fucking having a party on a hill because there's nobody to oppose them. So what's the messaging is 2A leadership giving to their member group? We're not talking about people we can't convince. There are people that are anti-gun that we will never convince that guns are good. I'm talking about people in your community, LTC holders. What type of messaging are you giving them? Because the messaging that you're giving is not working. Whatever we have been doing for the last 5, 10, 15, 20 years is not working. So say what you want, whatever belief that you have, but I know this shit ain't working. Because in 2016 to 2024 now, the same percentage of Black, Brown, Hispanic, and every other type of category, demographic you want to put, they're still not showing up. They send a representative. You'll have one member come and represent. Hey, I'm from the Pink Pistol community. Hey, I'm from this community. Hey, I'm from this and that. Why aren't the members showing up? Then some Karen yelled in the crowd, well, they should be here. They should support. Yes, Karen. I agree with you, Karen. They should be here, Karen. Why aren't they? Why aren't they, Karen? Why aren't 80% of the group filling in all this green? Because I see a lot of green. Yes, they should be here. I agree with you, Karen. But why aren't they? You know why? Because you make it hard. You make it hard. There is nothing wrong with white people supporting the 2A. Shit, you guys are the only one doing a lot of the legal work. What I'm saying is it is not enough to win the 2A fight. Old, young, white males and females are not enough numbers to win the 2A fight. You need the rest of the 2A community to step in and do the fucking work. And in order for them to do that, you have to create an environment where people feel like they are valued, where they are loved, where they are appreciated, where they are wanted, where they are seen, and they are heard. And right now, the 2A community is not doing it. You're failing. You're failing in that mission. And that's why 80% of the people don't show up. Well, Pierre, how are we failing in that mission? How are we failing to make the place, what's the word y'all hate? Inclusive. Yeah, I hate that word. Inclusive. I'll tell you how. Because a lot of you guys seem to be confused as to how the space is not safe. Well, we're all pro-gun, Pierre. Why don't everybody come here? Why don't everybody join us in the lawn? I'll tell you why. Because y'all got a bunch of shit that is not 2A related. The 2A movement needs to be a single freaking issue movement. The only thing we need to be talking about is guns. Why are we at a 2A rally and we talking about MAGA? Make America great again. Nobody disagrees with that. Yeah, we should make America great again. So at some point, America was great. Well, yeah, Pierre. So then I asked the question, when was America great for everyone? Give me a year. I'm a very direct person. I can articulate myself very well. I can understand and comprehend things very good. Answer this question. When was America great for everyone? What year is that? Tell me a year. Because in 2024, we're still having the first Black president, the first Black governor, the first city council member, the first this is that, the first... In 2024, we're still having the first. So when was America great for everyone? Give me a year. It don't matter. That has nothing to do with the issue. All it does, it distracts people. Now we're arguing about Trump. Now we're going down the weeds as to whatever. Why? We should only be talking about guns. Why are we going down the rabbit hole about Trump? The minute you yell Trump, the minute you yell Kamala, the minute you yell insert any political person, you are turning people off. You just unselected 5,000 gun owners. You just unselected 10,000 gun owners because they're pro this and anti that. We cannot afford to turn people away. So we don't need to be talking about that shit. Why are we talking about immigrants? Why are we talking about China? That's not our lane. Are those things important? Sure, but that's not your lane. That's above your pay grade, respectfully. We need to be talking only about guns. If you are a 2A leader, an organization, a president, a this and that, we need to focus only about firearms. We don't need to go down the rabbit hole of this particular politician because we lose people, we lose numbers. And the most important thing that we lose the opportunity to connect where we agree. That's what happens. We lose the opportunities to connect where we agree. That's the biggest downfall. All these goddamn Mexicans, all this da-da-da-da-da-da-da. You just turned off Hispanic voters. I'm in the gun groups when I see all the pro-2A people making Michelle Obama look like a monkey. How does that protect and grow the Second Amendment? How does that add more people into our cause? How does that make more people show up? Y'all keep trying to preach to me. Y'all keep trying to preach to the choir. Don't talk to me. Talk to the people on the fence. Talk to the people that disagree with you. Those are the people you need to engage and light a fire underneath. Don't tell me guns are bad. Guns are not bad. Guns don't kill people. People kill people. Why are you telling me that? I own a gun store. Why are you telling me that? I train people every day. Why are you preaching to me? You need to converse with people on the fence. You know who the people on the fence are? Independents, liberals, people that lean left, lean right, not quite sure where they're at. These are the people we need to be having conversations with. Why are you telling me that, oh, let's not let them take our guns? Yeah, come and take them. Don't tread on me. They're treading all over us. They're stomping us out. We losing. We losing. Literally and figuratively. So don't talk to me and preach to me about the shit I already agree with you on. Let's focus on the work. Where's the people that aren't showing up? What makes them uncomfortable? Why don't we have conversations about that? Why don't you look at, so if you're an organization, a 2A leader, and then you know you have a strong membership in A category, but B, you don't have a lot of memberships, guess where you need to be holding your events? At B, the B area. That's where you need to be at. There's Confederate flags. A lot of Black people see the Confederate flag as racist. You don't have to agree with it. You just have to accept that's a reality. So why don't we just take the conversation out? Just take it out. Don't have it present at a 2A rally. Don't have it present at the range. If you are in a 2A environment, the only thing that should be present and talked about is the Second Amendment. Firearm safety, how to be safe. Don't point the gun at anything you don't intend on shooting. All these basic things. That's what we need to be focused on. Why are we talking about the Confederate flag? It's a rabbit hole that people run down. You run down the rabbit hole and then you get lost and then you just leave angry. We need to leave all other issues alone. We need to make it a single issue union, a single issue movement. Guns, gun safety, what's the best for the community, how to activate all gun members, how to activate and then grow people. How do we put where are programs lacking? Where are programs strong? What has worked in the past? How can we implement this that worked into a new neighborhood? That's what we need to be discussing. But we never have that conversation. What's a great program? Have we ever talked about that to a community? What's a great program to get young people into the Second Amendment? I've never heard that conversation. You know why? Because we're too busy arguing about all the bullshit that we disagree on. I don't give a damn if you like Trump or Kamala. What I do give a damn about is if you hold your local politician accountable. If you're a Democrat and you're pro-gun, don't vote for somebody who's anti-gun. That's what I care about. How do we get people to hold their local politicians accountable? That's the conversation we should be having. But we don't. We don't have those conversations because those people that we should be having the conversations with don't even show up. So we lose the opportunity to connect. So if we actually want to start creating change in a 2A, if we actually want to start winning, then we need to focus on getting the other 80%. If you don't, then enjoy the results. If you think the way the 2A fight is going is great right now, don't change anything. Prove me wrong. Don't change a damn thing. Enjoy the results. But I know since I've been tracking since 2016, we've been taking L's, especially in this state. Can't talk for any other state. Can't talk for New Hampshire. Things are going great. I had my friends in Rhode Island laughing at me. Ha, ha, ha. Oh, Massachusetts, y'all got 10 round, magazines. We got unlimited stuff, yada, yada, yada. And then guess what happened this year? Rhode Island has now 10 round magazine restrictions. It's a cancer that spreads. And these people these anti-gunners are throwing shit on the wall and they're hoping anything sticks. And because we're not united, because we don't have a strong, clear message, we're losing. We're always on the back end. We're always trying to fight anti shit that's already passed. When are we gonna be ahead of the curve? When are we as two-way leaders, organization, whoever identifies as a two-way leader in mass, when am I ever gonna hear that you launch an initiative? Hey, this is the coalition of two-way leaders in mass. We're proud to present the new program to help youth and all over the place. I never hear things like that. Anti-gunners are well-funded. They're well-organized. They travel. They get bussed around. They fly to places. Are we doing the same thing? Are we gun owners doing the same thing? Is our community doing the best that it can? The answer to that is no. And like I said in the rally today, you don't have to agree with my viewpoint, but you can't escape your reality. The reality is 80% of the two-way members are not showing up, and we're taking L's. Would you like to change that? I would. Would you like to change from us going from defense to offense? Would you like to grow the two-way community? Would you like to see Democratic voters hold the Democratic politicians accountable? Yes, Democrats vote anti-gun. I know that. I'm not stupid. But how are we going to change Democratic politicians' behavior? How are we going to change that behavior? You know how? By getting Democratic voters to hold their local politicians accountable. How do we do that? Let's start by having a space where we could actually have a discussion. Or you can go online on Facebook and just yell, oh, libtards suck, libtards this, oh, stupid commies, da 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 da, keyboard warriors. You could keep doing that, yelling into an echo chamber on all the mass gun pages. Go ahead, yell into the echo chamber. Ah, the same shit we all agree and then we know of. The same shit you're not convincing anybody of doing. You keep yelling the same shit over again. Ah, okay, sir. It's the 10th time we've heard that this week. When are we ever going to talk about launching something? Because all I get emails about is shit that's going wrong. Stop being extreme. Make it easy for people to join the two-way fight. Make it easy. Two sides of the extreme is horrible. Let's meet in the middle where we can compromise. When you take an extreme stance, it forces the other person to take an extreme stance and nothing changes. So make it easy for other gun members to join the two-way fight, to take the action, to do the things that needs to be done. You don't have to agree with me. You can have a different solution. There is multiple solutions. My belief alone is not going to be the solution. There's probably 10, 15, 20 solutions to this one problem. So let's figure those solutions out. Let's figure those solutions out because we haven't. Let's change our messaging. Let's actually hit our target audience. Let's hit our target audience. LTC holders. Can we get them for an event? Only time I hear about events is when Gold holds something. Everybody online talking about shit about Gold. Gold sucks. Gold doesn't do this. Gold doesn't do enough. We give all the money. Well, sir, where's your initiative? Where's your event? Where's your two-way fashion show? Where's your auction? Where's your dinner? Where is your event? I don't be hearing shit from anybody else. So, until we start getting pro-gun Democrats, liberals, whatever you call it, to start holding their politicians accountable. We're going to continue this. One more point before I move on. The two-way community has to understand that the two-way experience is different for everyone. The way a white person views the Second Amendment and their experience is completely different from the way an urban person, a Black person, brown, whatever description you want to use. Our experience of the Second Amendment is different, and you have to honor and respect that. Because if you don't, we're going to lose. We're going to lose each other first, and we're going to lose the battle. All the time, I hear my white friends say, Pierre, I started shooting when my grandpa took me hunting. My grandpa had that shotgun on that glass on the wall. We know not to touch it. He taught us how to clean it and did everything. Oh, my grandpa did this, and that. And I say, wow, that's amazing. I'm happy that your grandpa got to teach you young, because I never physically touched a gun until I was 18 years old in my third day of boot camp. And I got my M16 that was stuck with me for 3 months. That was the first time I got a gun. You know what a lot of Black grandpas were doing? Black grandpas were fighting a racist government for basic human rights. The civil rights movement was happening. People's grandpas were fighting for the right to sit in the front of the bus. People's grandpas was fighting for the right to just drink out of a fountain that doesn't say whites only and niggers only. People's grandpas were fighting for basic human rights. So we didn't have the privilege to take our grandchildren to go hunting. That's what Black grandpas were doing. Fighting for basic human rights, getting hosed down, going to the Million Man March. That's what other grandpas were doing. So I want you to think about that experience. The two-way experience is different for everyone. And if you want to win this two-way fight, you have to think about everyone's experiences and you have to honor it. Honor that some people's grandpas didn't have the opportunity. I got deployed to Afghanistan. Then I came home and I was able to use my GI Bill, my 9/11 GI Bill, to go to college and go to school for free. I got a degree for free. You know, if I was born 34 years, 40 years prior and did the exact same thing, those same Black grandpas who went to war, they were denied their VA benefits. They were denied their home loans. They were denied their access to education, fought the war just like everybody else, died just like everybody else, but they were able to buy a house and pass down generational wealth. That's what Black grandpas were doing. So sometimes I cry tears of joy and sadness, knowing that some people got to bond with their grandpa. That's the tears of joy, that they were able to have that concrete memory. And then I cried tears of sadness, knowing that some grandpas was locked up. Some grandpas were beat down. There wasn't police cameras back in the day. So some grandpas was going through it, working 2, 3 jobs to make sure their families made it for a day where they could see a Black president, where they could live like normal human beings. Take a sip out of a fountain. That's what some Black grandpas were doing while yours was taking you hunting. I ain't no hater. I'm happy you got that experience. But just know not everybody did. Black politicians, pastors, right? After every news shooting that you see something happens, a pastor will come and say, oh, we need to stop these guns from coming in our streets and yada, yada, yada. I need the Black community to stop internalizing racism. We, the Black community, always accuse, and oftentimes rightfully so, of other people being racist to us and treating us unfairly. But however, we're doing the same thing. Why is it in the Black community, the propaganda is that a young Black boy and a gun is is a criminal, but a young white boy with a gun is a Boy Scout? Why do there two different labels? Tamir Rice. If you don't know who Tamir Rice is, look up that case. Tamir Rice, the cop got out and shot that boy in less than 2 seconds because he had a toy gun in his hand. How did you critically assess the situation? How did you use that firearm as a tool of last resort? What other tools did you have in your toolbox that you could have done? Right? Why is it that we automatically criminalize Black and brown people with firearms? Why can't Black and brown people be patriots as well? And this is something that our Black leadership does all the time. A young Black boy having an interest in firearms is not a bad thing. Why is it when Timmy goes hunting and goes to the range with his dad, it's okay? But when Jamal wants to learn about firearms, you tell him, don't touch guns, stay away from guns, guns are bad. Don't be a criminal. Why is there two sets of messaging? That's internal racism. So I'm talking to you, Black people, Black gun owners, Black politicians. Before we worry about anybody else, why don't we worry about ourselves? Why do we instantly criminalize young Black youth and firearms? Black youth don't die because of Black on Black crime, which is a made up term, but you say that all the time. Black youth don't die because of gang violence. Black youth that die with firearms or buy firearms die due to a lack of education, training, and resources. Little Timmy was able to go to his gun range where they have a fishing lake where he could learn how to fish. They have a trap range where he could learn how to trap shoot. And then he has a gun range where he can go shoot pistols and rifles. And then he can go hunting with his grandpa and live his best life and have a nice, healthy relationship with firearms. Jamal had the same exact interest as little Timmy, but he didn't have those resources in his neighborhood. So therefore, the way he can go and interact with firearm was in a negative light. I need Black Democrats to stop saying that Black people with guns is what leads to crime. It's a lack of education, access to training and resources. That is the reason why we're dying. Because ever since I was a kid, I've been getting that message. Guns are bad. Black people with guns are bad. Don't touch them. Leave them alone. How's that working out for y'all? Black anti-gun politicians. When has, what's the term I'm looking for? Abstinence when has abstinence worked? We've been preaching to Black youth to stay away from guns. It's horrible. How's that working out for us? You've got Fox News that love to quote Chicago. Look at Democrat-run cities. Democrat-run cities have the highest rates of crime. Da, 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 da. There's some truth to that. There is. Is there some propaganda in there? Absolutely. So instead of trying to prohibit Black people from having any interaction with firearms, how about we start giving them education and training? How about we start giving them resources? How about we build a range in our community so that way, if a young Jamal or Tyrone is interested with firearm training, that he doesn't have to go to the streets. What does that say about our community that the only way for Black youth to learn about firearm safety is to go to the streets to learn about that? Why can't our communities have the same access to these resources as the white suburban areas? Because I know when my white friends invite me to go to their range, they've got acres of property. They've got fishing, trap, long distance range. Why can't we have that? Their kids go on to hunting camp and hiking camp. You got Boy Scouts of America. You've got the fishing thing, mass wildlife fish and game and all that. Why can't we have any of these programs in our city? Because having an interest in firearms is not criminal. Having a desire to learn more about guns is not a criminal mindset. So why do we label it as that? Why? All the pastors after every shooting, well-meaning, oh, gotta get these guns off the streets. How about we put some access to education, training, and resources in the streets and see if gun crime don't go down? So that way a young Tamir don't have to be shot down. Because we automatically think that a young Black boy with a gun is a criminal. He's a gangbanger. He's a thug. How about we try that? Because that message, that strategy of just Black people don't touch guns and leave it alone, how's that working out for y'all? Is that getting you the outcome that you want? Black Democrats, Black leaders, you guys who claim that you really care about the youth not dying in the streets and not dying by violent crime, if you truly value that over how you do that by trying to push a false propaganda, why don't we try a different strategy? How about we say, because we've been doing it for 20 years and we see it's not working out. How about we do a 3-year trial period? Hey, why don't we give access to education and training and resources to the cities that have the most gun violence? Why don't we give them an opportunity to learn how to use firearms safely? Why don't we channel that interest into a career where they can become security guards, police officers, federal agents, military? Why can't we channel that interest into something positive? Why can't we? What I'm saying is to the Black community is the messaging that we've been doing is not working. Kids are not running away from guns. They're not leaving them alone. The don't touch it, it's not working. So let's try something different. The other half of the Black community, Black gun owners. If you are a Black and brown gun owner, why are you voting for a politician that's anti-gun? I know that answer. I know why, but ask yourself why. Let me ask you a secondary question. Why aren't you holding your local politicians accountable? Why aren't you saying you will not get my vote unless XYZ? You can do both. You know that, right? You can get a politician that supports you in certain things, and you can apply pressure to that politician to change their stance. And to the other side of the two-way group, you make it so easy for Democratic politicians to demonize you with some merit. With some merit, you make it easy for propaganda to be thrown your way. You give them plenty of material. You give them plenty of material to work with. Why do you make it so easy for anti-gun Democrats, anti-gun politicians, to have their way? So if you're a Black gun owner and you have a license to carry, I highly encourage you to hold your local politician accountable. Everywhere I go in Boston, I live in Boston. Everywhere I go, There's a flyer for a politician. This city council member, this person is running for this district. I see these flyers posted everywhere. We know what we're talking about. So when that politician comes to your area, why don't you tell that politician, hey, I agree with you on these things, but I think you need to consider these other things when it comes to the Second Amendment, the human right to self-defense. Us out of all black people, us black people out of all people have the greatest need and right to self-defense. We were kidnapped from our homelands, dragged across the Atlantic, forced into centuries of slavery, forced into centuries of oppression and discrimination. We, above all people, should understand the value of self-defense. So why do we so throw it away willingly? Why? You are a group of people that say the right is bad. The right want to kill you. Tiki torches, this and that, racism, blah, 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 blah. The world is falling apart. But yet at the same time, you're telling your community to be unarmed. You're telling your community to, oh, you don't need a gun. You can trust that very same racist government. That very same government you claim to be racist, these same black people can trust that government. Is there not an irony in that? Black community, black gun owners, black politicians, black pastors and preachers and all that stuff. Is there not an irony that the same government we cannot trust, the same people that's out to get us, we want to depend on them for our security and our well-being and our safety? After you carefully document how blacks and Native Americans and every other, demographic has been wronged by these Europeans, but yet you're telling these same black people that they don't need guns? Are you crazy? Y'all look crazy. You got to be crazy for you to document all the ways we've been enslaved and discriminated against, and then at the end of the day and tell me, oh yeah, by the way, you don't need a gun. That's wild. I don't know how those two thoughts I don't know how you work them out in your brain. I don't know how y'all do it. How do y'all do that? I come from Haiti. We kicked our slave masters off the island, and we paid a dear price for it. But we sparked revolution all around the globe. Haiti's independence, Haiti's fight for independence sparked global revolutions all around the world. And we paid a dear price for it. But now you want to tell me to not bring my guns, to not have firearms? I'm never giving up my guns from my cold, dead hands, because there's enemies all around me. I understand my history. I will never let another oligarch, black politician who's protected by taxpayer dollars, who's got security all around them, state police, private security, federal bodies to protect them, to come and tell me I don't need any guns. How dare you? How dare you? Black people in this country, above all other people, have a claim to self-defense, because we came here against our will. We were forced to labor against our will, us and many other people, but us more than any other people. But now you want to tell us to trust that same government. Now you want to tell us to be unarmed. when our ancestors was unarmed and they came onto our shores and kidnapped, raped, killed, and forced us to trade our brothers and sisters so it wouldn't be us. And now you're telling us to be unarmed again. You crazy. That's my message to the Black community. Y'all are wildin'. We need to support, not support, yes, support, and acknowledge the pain that victims of gun violence go through. I think too often does the 2A community just say, guns don't kill people, people kill people. There is a guy out there on the fence, didn't even give a damn about guns, just living his life. Wasn't pro-gun, wasn't anti-gun, just living his life and his family. Then one day he gets the fucked up news that somebody went into a school and did that crazy act. And now their baby is gone. That's a horrible experience. That is something that will destroy someone. I have a niece who's 15 years old. We just celebrated her sweet 15 this summer. Beautiful girl, beautiful soul, totally innocent, right? Just a pure gem, untainted, right? I can't imagine what that feels like. And that's not even my daughter. She's my niece. I can't imagine how that feels waking up one day and knowing your entire life is gone. This person that you have been pouring your all in, your love, your heart, your experiences, your this and that, to help them be the best version, to be better than you. And that person is gone forever. And then to just have people on the other side saying that, oh, guns don't kill people, people kill people. We all know that. But is that messaging landing? Is that landing with victims of gun violence? We've got to change our messaging on that. I think that's so weak. Everybody knows that guns don't jump off the table. That's what every gun will, oh, well, I put this gun here. Did it jump off the table? No, people kill. We all know that. But what are we doing as gun owners to take accountability for that? How are we getting ahead of the anti-gun propaganda? Because we know what anti-gunners are going to say. We know how the news is going to move. But how are we, the gun community, taking charge of that narrative and not letting anti-gun media just say guns are bad? Oh, look at this, guns are bad. That's why we should. The guy used a handgun, and they're like, this is why we should ban assault rifles and shotguns, even though it wasn't even used in the crime. We have to have compassion for these people. Too easily do we just not care about somebody losing their entire life, the love of their life gone, innocent. It's one thing if your kid was doing something stupid and they got caught up, you can kind of rationalize it. That makes sense. When you're talking about innocent people, kids that are 4 or 5, done no harm, pure, innocent, beautiful souls gone. We got to have more compassion for that. Because this messaging of guns don't kill people, it's not working. And quite frankly, I think it falls short. I think it falls short of showing compassion and understanding. So we got to figure out how to do that. And that's something that I want to think about. That one I don't have a clear answer or solution to, but I really do think that we need to think about how do we address this? And unfortunately, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. When is it going to happen again? And how are we going to connect with these people and show them that we understand their pain, that their concerns are real? It's a real concern. If you're somebody who never cared about guns until your daughter or son got I can't say the word on YouTube, got, deleted. How are you gonna show that person you care? My heart and prayers. Oh, sending my thoughts and prayers. That's so lame. So we got to figure out a better way to do that. I don't know exactly how, but we need to authentically connect with these people. Somebody whose kid got into, the wrong crowd and they started committing crimes, and then that kid gets deleted doing something bad. Yeah, that kid shouldn't have been doing that as well, but we should have compassion for how did that kid arrive there. So I don't really know the right messaging for that. I don't know how to authenticate that experience and acknowledging that. Yes, somebody used a firearm to destroy their life and deleted their child, but we can also understand the value of other people still being able to protect themselves. I think the two-way community can do a better job with that. And I hope we brainstorm and just don't say guns don't kill people, guns don't stop, you know, guns don't just jump off the table. A good guy with a gun stops a bad guy with a gun. We've got to take the initiative. And that's the thing that I noticed about the two-way community is that we don't take initiative about these things and we let other people tell the narrative. We let other people tell the story and the perspective. So we've got to do a better job with connecting with people, acknowledging their pain. Because I watch some messed up videos. Like I've got hundreds of videos on my laptop of shit going on, and I can understand why a parent would be anti-gun. I can understand why a kid who just watched their classmate get, blanked down and be anti-gun. That's not irrational. That's not an irrational position to take. A kid who had no care about guns, all they did was play Call of Duty, one day goes to school and see multiple classmates get blammed down. That's traumatic for anybody, even an adult. Even an adult, that's traumatic. So these people are not wrong for being anti-gun. These people are going through the grieving process and they're trying to find a way to cope with it. And unfortunately, a lot of times that happens is that these cowards, they delete themselves. It's one thing if the family member could, take the guy and put him to jail and say, "Oh, you're bad and we'll lock you up forever." The family don't even have the dignity to hold that culprit accountable because he goes out in the most cowardice way. So then the families get robbed of that opportunity of justice. So the only thing that's left is the gun. Their kid is gone. The bad guy's gone. What's left? Only thing left that's part of the crime is the firearm. It's not irrational for people to come to the conclusion that guns are bad after they themselves or their family members have been victims of a crime with firearms. We've got to find a better way to honor them, to respect their experience, to respect their grieving process. Yes, I can understand how you came to the conclusion that guns are bad. Two things can be true. Two things can be true at the time. Yes, guns don't jump off the table and shoot people. And yes, I can understand why you're mad at that gun because there's nothing left to throw your anger at. There's nothing left in the world to throw the anger at but the firearm. So we need to have compassion and we need to work on our messaging and not just on the messaging. We just need to really care. We just need to really care about these families and how can we help them. So I don't know the best way for that. I'm navigating these things the same way that you guys are navigating it. And I don't know the best way, but this guns don't jump off the table shit. We need are we really teaching people? Are we really teaching people that guns don't jump the table? Wow, really? That gun didn't come out the safe and it was a bad person that took the gun and did something? Whoa, mind blown. We're not We're not bringing in a new concept. So let's find a way to honor victims of gun violence and protect the Second Amendment. How about they not be enemies? How we do that, I don't know. But let's figure it out. Let's figure out how to have some compassion and work together. I've had people, I've had mothers. Here's couple of anecdotal experiences. I've had mothers come to my class and cry because they said their son, they had 3 sons, and all 3 of them died from being in the streets and doing wild, crazy things. And she just wanted to understand the allure. She spent years being mad at the guns. And finally, she's like, I saw a Black instructor. I went on your website. I saw your messaging, and I wanted to learn the allure of firearms. And at the end of the day, she added me on social media, shared her picture of her certificate. Hey, I just took this safety class. This guy's awesome. And I didn't do anything extraordinary. All I did was show compassion, that I understand that if you lost 3 sons to gun violence, that you'd feel some type of way. And that's okay. And you're not crazy for that. Show some compassion for all these crazy things that are happening. The world is a crazy place. And no, I don't believe that arming every teacher is the solution. These teachers don't even have money for fucking pens and pencils and erasers. And now they gotta buy a gun. Shit, the average gun owner can't even shoot straight. And now we want teachers to have the added stress of learning how to shoot. Now, do I think there's some type of solution somewhere in there? Yeah, but let's not go with these crazy narratives of, just arm every teacher in the school. There's a storm coming. Gun owners, LTC holders, patriots, all that term that you guys use, that storm is coming. Better yet, that storm is here. The storm is here. So what are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about that? All I see online, Goal needs to do something. Somebody needs to do something. Somebody needs to stop this. You are somebody. You are somebody. So what are you going to do about this? Because Goal is busting their ass to read all these legal views and figure this shit out. I don't have the time for that. I don't have the time to go to the state house and the city hall and to figure this shit out. What are you doing? I own a gun store. I train thousands of people every year. I help thousands of people get their licenses. Training online. Train members in the military. Was a small arms instructor. I'm doing my part to protect and grow the Second Amendment. What are you doing? What are you doing to protect and grow the Second Amendment? So when you say somebody needs to do something, you are somebody. This is coming. This is coming. We can pretend like we're going to fight it. We can pretend like we're going to reverse it, which we might do. It'll take us 5 years to go through the legal proceedings if the Supreme Court decides to pick up the case or if they don't waive it. But it's coming. So what are you going to do now that the storm is here? I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to train the hell out of people. All this anti-gun bullshit motivated the hell out of me. I'm going to double my company size. You want to make it harder for people to get their license to carry? Well, I'll show you, mother effer. I'm going to work twice as hard to get my students to go through the process. I'm going to call and check up. I'm going to send them emails. I'm going to send them text messages. I'm going to make sure that they follow through so they don't become victims to this process that's designed to discourage them to get their gun permit. So that's what I'm going to do. I live and breathe the two-way every single effing day. So what are you going to do? For everybody that's screaming, somebody needs to do something, you are somebody. Pierre, I'm not a firearms expert. That's cool. Bring a family member, a friend to a range. Bring a family, a friend member or coworker, whoever, to a class. Have a conversation with them. Hey, man, this is really important. Sign up your kids to get the FID card, to get their licenses. They don't have to get a gun, but at least they have the choice to. You can apply for your gun permit and not buy a gun for years. And then one day you see something on the news and you say, you know what? I think it's time that I actually go and use this card. That's okay. Just give them the option, the opportunity, and the choice to do that. That's another way you can grow and protect the Second Amendment. So what are you doing? Maybe all you can do is pay your $30 to whatever two-way organization for their annual membership. That's okay. If that's all you can do, that's all you can do. You don't like gold? Pick the NRA. You don't like the NRA? Pick NAGA. You don't like NAGA? Insert any other two-way organization. But do something. Do something. Do your part. I'm not asking anybody to save the world. All I'm asking you to do, if you're in this two-way community, is to do your individual part. Pay that goddamn $30 for a two-way organization of your choice. Drag your friends and family to the range, to a class, to get them to do their gun permit and get their licensing. So that way, if they change their mind in the future, some shit go down. Now they're not waiting 3-6 months. You know, in Boston right now, my students are waiting 6 months to get an interview. 6 months. I had my student call me. Hey, yeah, Pierre. Yeah, I just got my interview. It's in fucking, and I'm like, what? They're like, yeah, they're all backed up. Get those people around you. Get one person. If everybody got one person in their life to actually get their licensing, we would double our community. Just get one person in your life to get their license. So for everybody saying that somebody needs to do something, you are somebody. So get your ass up and do something. Do your part. You don't need to save the world. You don't need to do all this shit. Just do your part. Just do your individual part. Cover your sector of fire. You don't need to pull 360 security. Just cover your sector of fire. A lot of people in this community complain about the things that are wrong with the two-way community, things that we can improve and work on. I myself am one of these people. But I also believe in being part of the solution. So not only do I observe what I believe are the problems in the two-way community, but I'm also brainstorming solutions. Some I've already stated. So what are these solutions that I believe? The most important thing that I think we need to have is some DEI. Oh, I know we hate the acronym DEI. What's that DEI stand for? Let me see what that DEI, diversity. Oh, we hate that word. What's that E stand for? Go ahead. Equity. Ooh, we hate that word in this community. And what's that I stand for? Inclusion. We need to work together. You need to cut the propaganda about libtards and commies and this and that. Cut all that shit out. When it comes to the two-way, we need to be a single issue movement. And everybody hold their local politicians accountable. And we need to make it easy for us to collaborate. I'm seeing a lot of these, I see a lot of these comments in here, a lot of some stuff. I'm reading through some of them. You don't have to agree with me. It's the reality. America first, MAGA, all that shit brings division. Leave the shit at home. I don't want to hear about China. I don't want to hear about the border. I don't want to hear about none of that shit. If it's not two-way related, leave it alone. Let us focus on guns. Let's have some inclusion. A couple years back, before COVID, I was holding African American firearm safety courses. I had two-way members going wild in the comments. Why are you having an African American firearm safety course? Why are you doing this? That's racist. And in my mind, I'm like, why the fuck? Why would somebody who is pro 2A, pro Second Amendment, be mad that I'm holding an African American firearm safety course? Why are you doing that? Oh, what if we had a whites only firearm safety course? Y'all already showing up. We don't need a class for y'all. You don't need to have a separate rally. You guys already showing up. Y'all already shooting at the range. Y'all already got your licenses. So I don't understand why the community gets mad. But it's funny because I don't see the community get mad when there's women-only courses. I see women-only courses. So when it's about gender, there's no problem with that. Oh, yeah, we need to get more women involved and, yeah, get them shooting. My wife's scared to shoot. I want to get her in, da-da-da-da-da. So with the gender, there's no problem. But as soon as I say African-American firearm safety course, then I get a lot of hate. Why is that? Ain't that the demographic you need to hold Democratic politicians accountable? Why are you mad? Why am I getting hate messages? Oh, nigger this, nigger that, da, 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 da. Man, I wish I saved half those messages. Back then, I was like, block, delete. You're not going to mess up my zone. But now I want to expose y'all. And I'm going to start those activities back again soon. 2025, we're going to be on and popping. Let me get those messages again. I'm going to start putting y'all on blast. And I'll let the internet do what the internet does best. So why? Why do y'all have this problem? Gender, not a problem. Youth, right? Youth firearm safety course, kids under 18, I've seen those, not a problem. So gender don't matter, age don't matter. But the minute we start talking about black and brown people, now it's an issue. Oh, what if we had a whites only class? I never hear anybody say, oh, what if we had a men's only class? Why do we have a ladies' night at the range? Why, that's sexist. Why don't we have a men's night at the range? Never hear anybody make that argument. But the minute that we start talking about black people training and getting licensed, the very members of our same community send me hate messages. And you know what that shit does? It fuels me up. I use that shit for fire. I fuel it up. I go, oh yeah, let me eat. Because I'm cooking in this kitchen. I'm cooking. If you're mad about me teaching African-American firearm safety courses, you're going to be big mad. You're going to be big mad in 2025. When this shit roll out, y'all going to be big mad. And you ain't no friend of mine. I see you as an enemy. And we two-way people, two-way community, we always talk about, oh, the rotten apple. Oh, that's not most of the community. There's only a couple of people that's bad. Well, let's throw that rotten apple out. How about that? How about we call that rotten apple out and throw that individual out? Why don't we do that? So we need some diversity. If y'all don't like that DEI slang, I'll throw it to you another way. We just need LTC people to show up. That's what we need. Let's see what I got here. Yeah, I already made this point, but my point is y'all not gonna win the gunfight. If you're pro 2A, if you're pro gun or pro whatever, white males and white females cannot win this fight alone. You need every member of the community, whether you're white, black, Asian, Hispanic. We need every member of a 2A community to be engaged. And we need to make sure that the space that we're using is inviting for all. Because if you think only white males and white females can win this 2-way fight, let me know how that's working out for you. How's it working out? Are you winning? Do you feel like, as the LTC holder in this state of Mass, do you feel like you're winning that 2-way fight? I don't. So how about we activate the rest of the 80% of the people? For you leaders, for those leaders, the so-called 2-way leaders, what events are you holding in your community? How are you engaging your community? So that way they can take a class. The best way to fight anti-gun propaganda is education. People learn watching an assault rifle. Where did that come from? What's the history? How do guns work? The difference between automatic and semi-automatic. The best way to fight that anti-gun propaganda is education. That's the best way to do it. So, for the 2-way community, it's a very simple statement. If you don't use all the numbers that you have, if you don't engage all the members of the 2-way community, you are going to lose this war. You are going to go out of business. Your customer, as a leader, as a president of a gun range or a club or whatever the hell, your customer is the LTC holder. And if you don't cater to your customer, you will go out of business. And do you know what the other business is? Anti-gun propaganda. That's what happens. That's what happens to somebody on the fence. They fall victim to anti-gun propaganda, and then they win. Now you got somebody else saying guns is bad. So you don't have to agree with me. You don't have to think the same way I think. But what you can't argue with is the results. You guys are holding these rallies and nobody's showing up and nothing is getting done. And only 10 people from a specific organization is doing all the legwork. So if you think you're winning this gunfight in this state, don't do anything. If you think Pierre is crazy, with some of you guys, I see some of the comments, Pierre, you're crazy, and da-da-da-da-da. If you think you're winning this 2-way fight, go ahead. Keep doing exactly what you're doing. Let me know how you like the results. It's not about thoughts. It's not about feeling. It's about results. How do you get the outcome that you desire? And if you're not getting the outcome, if you're not winning this 2-way fight, if you're not getting 80% of your members to show up, then you should probably try something different. If it's not my thoughts, then great. Bring another idea up. Hey, Pierre, I don't think that's the right solution. Great. Tell me. Give me another solution. I am happy to brainstorm 50. I'd rather have 50 solutions in that pool, in that brainstorm pool, than 20. If you think something else is, sure, Go ahead, drop it in the brainstorm pool. But what I know is what we're doing right now is not working. And that's why we're here. That's why we're having this conversation. That's why we had the rally, because it ain't working. So don't argue with me. As they say, argue with your mama. Look at the reality around you. Thousands of black gun owners in Boston, and not a single one of them showed up. Not 1,000 showed up. Not 1,000 showed up. In the heart of the city, where you got 650K people that live in Boston, and then you got up to 4 million in the greater Boston if you include Cambridge and all those greater Boston cities. 4 million people, and we can't get 1,000. We got people traveling all across the state, all the way from the west side, from the south. Shout out to y'all. I appreciate y'all. But why can't we get people that live 5 minutes away to show up? People that look and can see where you're at, and they've got a license to carry, and they don't show up. Why is that? Answer that question for me. You ain't got to agree with me, but answer that question. Why? Why ain't they showing up? I've been to every goddamn rally in the last 10 years. I've been to goddamn every event, two-way event here. How's that working out for y'all? Answer the question. Why isn't 80% of the community showing up to your rally? And what are you going to do about it? That's a two-part question. And what you going to do about it? If you ain't going to do shit, well, enjoy. 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 I already talked about all this shit. I believe in being in tip of the spear. That's what we say in the Army, the tip of the spear. And that's what I'm doing. I don't want to be anywhere where I'm not loved, valued, appreciated, or anything like that. But I can promise you this, the guy who ran the event today, until he make things right with me, I will never participate in another event that he is leading. That was the first and last time that someone has ever grabbed the microphone out of my hand and stopped my speech. This is the same people. This is the same people that are preaching the Second Amendment is important. The First Amendment is important. And the minute that we give an opinion that is not as part of the echo chamber, then you want to take my mic away. You the same group that value the First Amendment? But because I didn't tell you that, oh, guns don't kill people. Hey, man, don't let these people take our guns. Come and take it. Don't tread on me. Because I didn't say that same bullshit to y'all. Because I kept it real with you. Because I told you why other communities of the other two-way communities ain't showing up. And then you want to grab that mic from me? Cool. That's why we go in our own lane. We're not begging nobody for a seat at the table. I got my own goddamn table. I got my own chair. I buy my own food. I ain't begging nobody. I ain't looking for no participation trophy, and neither are my people. If you don't want us here, if you don't care about our values and then our different experiences with the two-way, if you don't care about that, then we're going to keep it moving. Then you do your rally over there, and then we do our shit over here. We don't beg people for a seat at any table. We do our own shit. So if you don't want us, if you don't value us, if you don't care about the things we got to say and our differing opinions and experiences, and then this is a good old boys club, then that's on you. Now, out of respect, I'm not going to say the person's name, which I didn't know the person's name till after the event. Till after the event, I found out who the person was. But I'm not going to say their name out of common interest for the two-way. But let me read, because I had to Google this guy's name. I was like, who the hell is this guy? Because he made me mad. And then here's what he said in one of the paragraphs. He goes, the more people we have, the better. This is the latter half of the message of the screenshot. The more people we have, the better. We need to get news coverage so that people outside the echo chamber can hear. This is this person who is advertising and leading this two-way event says that. Let me read this line to you again. The more people we have, the better. We need to get news coverage so that people outside the echo chamber can hear. Well, sir, I am outside the echo chamber. I am outside the echo chamber. And you didn't want to hear shit I had to say. You didn't want to hear the sentiments that a bunch of people from a different segment, from a different lifestyle as you, their concerns. That's what I came. I came with my customers. You're a business. I came with my customers and said, hey, we have the shared interest in the two-way, but our experience is a little bit different. Here's our concerns. And then instead of you saying, you know what? I didn't look at it from that point of view. I never considered that before. That's a good point. I'm going to go take that food for thought. I'm going to sit on it for a little bit, and I'm going to strategize the better way to do this. And the next time when we come out, we're going to be bigger and better. The same woman. Yeah, I told that Karen to shut her mouth from heckling, from that not so microaggressions. Yes, we had a Karen in the crowd, and I was speaking. If she wanted to speak, she had every opportunity to speak. It's called respect. And then when she came with her microaggressions, which were not so micro, yeah, I told her to shut her ass up. Yeah, I did, and I stand on that. A pro two-way rally heckling pro two-way speakers. Pro two-way speakers. Can you believe that? Yes, she was being a Karen, and I wasn't standing for it, and I told that Karen to shut the hell up. Well, I didn't say shut the hell up. I said shut your mouth. Yes, I did, and I stood on business. Don't interrupt. Don't interrupt a passionate individual when they're giving a presentation. Boy. Boy. I had to catch myself there a second. So yeah, there was a Karen heckling in the crowd, and yeah, I wasn't standing for that. Go heckle somebody else. I could handle that. I don't care about hecklers in the crowd. I could handle myself. But to take the mic away from me, when you advertise your event as somebody giving things out of the echo chamber, why do you want me to give you a speech? Guns are good. Bad people, well, guns are bad. You want me to yell the same shit that the last 10 people said? Is that what you wanted me to do? How's that been working out for us? No, I tried to keep it real with the community, with the two-way community, and y'all kept it real back at me. So congratulations, the event organizer. Congratulations. Now people see you for who you are. And the crazy thing is, I get flack from my community all the time. Pierre, why are you hanging out with these racist gun owners? Pierre, why are you doing this? I'm like, nah, it's not like that. It's about the two-way. Yeah, people kill me. People kill me. People kill me for working with y'all. Because there's a certain narrative and perspective of who these type of demographics of people who are. And I say, nah, you got to get into the weeds. There's nuance. There's people that's pro. I've had a great experience with Goal. Goal gets a bad flack. I'm like, have you actually sat in their classes? Have you ever done work with them? Have you ever spoken to people? And 9 out of 10 times, the answer is no. And ignorance cannot survive contact. Ignorance cannot survive contact. When you make contact with people, when you work with people, then you go, oh, you know what? Now you can make your own opinion. So I'm dabbling with people every day that I disagree with. Think about it. I'm an immigrant. I was born in Haiti. I'm a combat vet. I lean left on social issues and right on gun and then freaking money issues. I'm pro-black. Do you think I agree with most people I come across in the two-way community that's generally conservative? If this was all about my personal beliefs, do you think I would still be in business? You think if my company policy was, I only train people that think exactly the way I do, you think I would survive? I've been in the game for over 10 years. You think I would survive if I only train people that look and think like me? No, I train people from all walks of life because it doesn't freaking matter. When you come into a two-way organization, to a two-way event, it's all about firearm safety. It ain't about shit else. So you ain't got to know about my different opinion. Now, if there's something with a legal law and some specific person, sure, you can say, hey, this candidate is proposing this, cool, then that's relevant. But all that extra shit, leave it out. Leave it out. Or continue to enjoy. Enjoy the fruits of your labor. Enjoy being on the back end of a two-way attack 24/7. Continue losing your rights to 3 evil features. Now it's going to go down to 2, then it's going to go to 1, then it's going to go to none. And now they're making you a felon. Congratulations. Don't change anything. Y'all piss me off. But that's pretty much my whole speech. I don't have 2 hours to give the speech. I was condensing it into an appropriate size. But I heard somebody say, hey, they want to come in. All right, cool. You want to hear a different perspective? I'm not afraid to give y'all the smoke. So we're gonna I'll be back in. I just gotta take a piss. I'll just keep it real. I gotta take a piss. I'll be back. I'll drop the link in the chat. So if you want to come up, I see people here saying, oh, they want to come up and talk and stuff like that. Cool. I ain't got no problem. Don't we value the First Amendment? Why was I denied the same opportunity to exercise my First Amendment from a pro-gun individual? You ain't got to agree with what I say. You just got to give me the same opportunity. Why was the black man who wasn't singing and sipping the Kool-Aid, who wasn't singing the song, you want me to sing the same song into the echo chamber and tell people that we all agree on the same shit, that guns ain't bad. Don't let them take our guns. Let's fight. Let's sign this waiver. We've been doing that shit for 10 years. How's that working out? Oh, let's go to these meetings. I went to these meetings. I went to half of these fucking room meetings. Well, maybe not half, but I went to a couple of them. What did you do? The same people that get mad at me, half of y'all not doing shit. And then on top of that, y'all can't even shoot. That's the crazy part. I'm in the range every day. I see what the average gun. I hate arguing with people that can't even shoot. I'm mad, but I dropped the. That make me mad, yo. Nothing I hate more than arguing. But I dropped the link in the chat. I'm gonna go use the restroom, and then when I get back from the latrine, whoever's in the back room, you can come up and then we'll talk. But this is what it's about: the two-way community, conversing within the two-way community. We ain't got nobody to blame but ourselves. We are unorganized. We are undisciplined. We are underfunded. We're not doing any initiatives. And then we mad that anti-gunners is out here smoking us in this fight. Y'all are wild. But here's the link if you want to join. Who was talking about, oh, let's show up and da-da-da. Well, here's the link. Come up and talk your shit. So here's the other thing. A bunch of people. So this is how I was dressed. This is how I was dressed at the event. And what I brought with me a shovel. I brought with me a shovel to the 2A rally. You know why I brought the shovel? Because the last line that I had in my speech, was that I wanted us to bury our differences and I wanted us to unite. Everyone's like, oh, why does he have a shovel? Why is he bringing this? Da, 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 da. This was supposed to symbolize. This shovel was supposed to symbolize us burying our differences and focusing on the things that we agree on, focusing on the two-way issues that matter. But instead, I never got the opportunity to talk about my shovel. I wanted to bury our differences in the two-way community. I wanted us to acknowledge the different experiences that we all have. And I wanted us to work together. And the last line I was going to say, when I say two-way, you say unity. Two-way unity. Two-way unity. But I didn't even get to finish my damn speech. And I didn't even get to talk about the symbolism of my shovel. So now we still got differences between us, unresolved issues. You guys made it clear that collaborating and bringing, and when I say you guys, I mean the event organizers. Let me be clear. Event organizers made it clear that we still have a lot of differences between us, and y'all not ready for the shovel. Because we could have used that shovel today to bury our differences and unite on making the two-way a single issue mission. But we didn't get that. Instead, what we got was violence. Well, let me not say violence. Instead, what we got was, what's that term? I got censored. Y'all didn't let me use my First Amendment. So now the shovel is still clean. I thought I could dirty the shovel and bury our differences, but apparently we still got a lot to go. So that was the reality I wanted. Life gave me the reality that I got. You have a plan for life, and life has a plan for you. So that's why I brought the shovel. I wanted us to bury our differences and to unite under the two-way banner. But clearly that was not possible today. But I still have hope that it's not impossible. But now I just know how I got to move, where I'm at. And that's why I am working for myself, and I continue to work for myself. I see somebody in the background, in the back room. If you're gonna come up, you gotta stand on your shit. So you gotta get on video. You gotta put your money where your mouth is and stand on the words that you say. So if you want to get on here, you gotta cam up, and you gotta understand that nothing gets taken down, and you're consenting to you being on the internet and people having access, right? It's fair use, all that stuff. Once you go on the internet, you go. So if you want to show up, you want to talk your shit, then cam up. So, so yeah, so that's why I had that shovel. I wanted to bury our differences, but apparently that wasn't possible.